Welcome to this explainer. If you ever looked at your local business and thought, how do I get this into the international market? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to show you exactly how to start exporting from Bangladesh step by step. We're drawing directly from the deep expertise of MD Joynal Abdin and the strategic framework provided by Trade and Investment Bangladesh to completely demystify this process. Exporting might seem like this high-stakes game that's reserved only for massive corporations, but as we're going to uncover today, it's really just about following a highly logical, structured path.
To give you a clear roadmap to global expansion, we've organized this guide into 5 distinct phases. 1. Moving beyond the domestic market. 2. Phase 1. Export readiness. 3. Phase 2. Finding buyers. 4. Phase 3. Logistics and payments. And finally, avoiding common exporting mistakes. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Beyond the Domestic Market, which I like to think of as the call to adventure.
Look, when most people hear Bangladesh exports, they immediately think of ready-made garments, right? And sure, that's a massive industry, but take a look at the sheer variety of other sectors here. International buyers are actively hunting for reliable suppliers in pharmaceuticals, our rich heritage of jute goods, and even the rapidly growing IT and software sector. The domestic market has boundaries, but the international market offers a completely different scale of growth, foreign currency earnings, and brand recognition. You really don't have to be a textile giant to export. Bangladesh has a massive comparative advantage in cost, quality, and skilled labor across all these fields. Buyers in Europe, North America, and the Middle East are out there. They are literally just waiting to find you.
So, let's move on to Section 2, Phase 1, Export Readiness. Now, before you even think about approaching foreign buyers, you really have to pause and ask yourself this tough question to evaluate your true production capacity. Can I supply large orders consistently while maintaining identical quality? Listen, it is easy to make one flawless sample batch. It's a whole different beast to deliver a massive container load where the 1,000th item is exactly as perfect as the first. International buyers have zero tolerance for quality fluctuations.
This brings us to a fantastic point, and really a core philosophy of this whole blueprint. From MD Joynal Abdin, export begins with product readiness, not buyer readiness. Basically, your product has to meet international expectations way before you ever start marketing. You absolutely cannot afford to figure out compliance after you've signed a contract. Depending on your target country, you might need HACCP for food safety, CE marking to legally sell in Europe, or specific organic certifications. Researching these exact standards and making sure your product actually aligns with them, that is what truly makes you export ready.
And speaking of being ready, let's talk paperwork. Getting your documents sorted early ensures that when you finally secure that dream international order, you aren't scrambling through administrative red tape. Along with your tax identification number and VAT registration, obtaining your Export Registration Certificate, or ERC, is an absolute 100% mandatory step in your preparation phase. No business can legally export commercial products from Bangladesh without it. It is essentially the key that unlocks customs clearance.
Let's summarize Phase 1 with a very concrete action plan. First, evaluate your product quality. Second, conduct deep market research. No guessing allowed here. Third, check those import standards like ISO or HACCP. And fourth, register your business and get that ERC. Now, notice what isn't on this list. Finding a buyer. And that is completely intentional. You've got to build a solid, legally compliant, and quality-assured foundation first.
Okay, now we're ready for Section 3, Phase 2, Finding Buyers. Finding highly qualified buyers takes immense patience. It starts with building a digital showroom. We're talking a professional website with crisp, high-quality factory photos. Then you need to network on B2B platforms and trade fairs. And here's a huge pro tip. When an inquiry finally lands in your inbox, speed is absolutely everything. In international trade, replying within 24 hours isn't just polite. It is basically the ultimate test of your reliability as a future supplier. If your website looks outdated or you're slow to reply, buyers are just going to bounce. Now, here is a major mindset shift you need to make. Domestic pricing versus export pricing. You cannot simply quote your local price. If you quote a local price to a buyer in Germany, but forget to account for international trade terms, known as Incoterms, things like freight and customs, you will instantly wipe out your entire profit margin. Whether you're using FOB, meaning free on board, or CIF, standing for cost, insurance, and freight, understanding your export costing is completely non-negotiable.
The exact same logic applies to your packaging. It has to level up significantly.
A flimsy cardboard box that easily survives a quick truck ride over to Dhaka definitely won't survive a cargo ship crossing the Pacific Ocean. Plus, your packaging must comply with incredibly strict international labeling laws, including country of origin and batch numbers. If your label is missing a required barcode or specific safety warning mandated by the importing country, your goods could be rejected right at the border. And that is a total loss you want to avoid.
Moving right along to Section 4, Phase 3, Logistics and Payments.
Listen, incomplete paperwork is pretty much the ultimate enemy of international trade. You have to maintain an incredibly organized system for these critical documents to prevent wildly expensive customs delays. Each document serves a very specific, vital purpose. The bill of lading proves the carrier actually has your goods. The certificate of origin proves exactly where they were made, which determines if your buyer gets a lower tax rate. Even one tiny typo across these documents can cause your shipment to be held up, racking up storage fees, and completely ruining your relationship with the buyer.
And obviously, getting paid securely is paramount. As you can see in this breakdown, relying on a letter of credit, or LC, is generally your absolute safest bet when dealing with brand new international buyers. Their bank essentially guarantees your payment as long as you meet the exact shipping terms. You might also see telegraphic transfers, or TT, which is an electronic transfer often used for requesting advance payments before you ship. On the flip side, an open account where you ship first and get paid later is a massive risk. You want to save that exclusively for highly trusted partners you've known for years.
All right, let's bring it home with Section 5, Avoiding Common Exporting Mistakes. You know, nothing sinks a first-time exporter faster than the temptation to say yes to a massive order they just can't actually handle. Overpromising your production capacity or skimping on quality inspections is basically a guarantee that a buyer never returns, and bad news travels super fast in global trade. The golden rule? Always underpromise and overdeliver. Also, please don't try to compete solely by being the cheapest. Offering heavily underpriced products usually just signals low quality to serious long-term international buyers.
But hey, the really good news here is that you don't have to navigate this complex journey alone. Organizations like the Export Promotion Bureau and strategic partners like Trade and Investment Bangladesh are out there specifically to help you. They offer incredible hands-on services. Whether you need a professional to assess if your factory is truly export-ready, or you need expert help with search engine optimization so European buyers can actually find your website on Google, leveraging this kind of ecosystem support can literally shave years off your learning curve. It all boils down to this fantastic insight from MD Joynal Abdin. Exporting is no longer limited to large corporations, and he is spot on. With proper planning and the step-by-step approach we've just unpacked, small and medium-sized Bangladeshi enterprises can absolutely compete on the world stage. Thanks to digital tools, global B2B platforms, and accessible market research, the barrier to entry has never been lower. This opportunity isn't just for corporate giants anymore. It's waiting for any business willing to be meticulous, professional, and patient.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. Which of your locally successful products is ready to conquer the global market today? By treating export not as a gamble, but as a deliberate, strategic process, you can transform your local success into a massive global footprint. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get out there, start your research, get your certifications in order, and take that first confident step toward the global market today.